Okay, so I'm currently in a lot of drama with my sister. I just don't understand where this is coming from. Because, in my opinion, I'm not the one at fault here. But for whatever reason, she's bent on making me look like I ruined her life or something. And how, you may ask? Well, just by not guiding her correctly. Like I'm supposed to, as her older sister. I mean, I don't even know what that means, but anyway, I will explain the situation so that you guys can come to a conclusion for yourselves because I honestly do not know what to make of this anymore. Both my husband and I are just so confused as to what she's even playing at. It's just ridiculous. Basically, about a year and a half ago, I got married to my long term boyfriend, and we had a very small, intimate wedding. We do not have any regrets. In fact, even if we were given the chance to do it again, we would not go bigger. We would stick to the guest list and we would do it on a budget because I think personally I would rather have a small wedding with a bunch of people that really love me rather than a huge wedding because frankly that sounds exhausting and expensive. To each their own though. I'm not judging anybody. But yeah, he and I have been together for a very long time, so we did feel the need for a fancy, extravagant wedding or something. It was a mutual decision. We were going to keep the budget for the wedding reasonable, and both his parents and mine decided to pay for it so that we hardly had to spend anything out of our own pockets. Now, the catch is that my parents had always had two wedding funds set aside. One for me, one for my sister. My father is an oncologist and my mother is a divorce lawyer, so we had a pretty comfortable childhood and they are reasonably well off in terms of their finances. So my sister and I have never had to worry about money growing up because we always knew that they had funds and money set aside for our needs in the future, and that included our weddings. And because I used barely any money out of the wedding fund, my parents told me that they were going to keep the rest aside for me in the future, and I could use it whenever I felt like I would need it. So that was another big reason I was so happy that we had had a small wedding because it meant that I hadn't blown all the money that my parents had kept aside for me on the wedding itself. And I could use it later in the future. And a couple of weeks ago, my husband and I finally decided it was time to use that money because we were ready to buy a new house and become homeowners now. The only reason we had not made the move earlier was because the apartment that we had been renting together was a convenient distance away from his workplace. And also because we didn't particularly feel the need to move right away. We got a bit comfortable. However, that changed a few weeks back because I found out I was pregnant. And within a few days, I had decided that we needed to move. And it was a perfect time as well because my husband had just been promoted and had been made in charge of their company's other office in the city. So we were looking for homes in that neighborhood so we could be closer to his new workplace now. And we really got incredibly lucky. The timing lined up for everything because that area also happens to be relatively close to all our friends and my parents. With all of this going on, we knew that it was the perfect time to buy a new house because we were going to be parents and might as well become homeowners too. So I spoke to my parents, had the money transferred to my account, and with a little bit from our own savings, we bought a nice little house in a very beautiful neighborhood. The sale was finalized just a few days back, and we made the announcement on social media along with the pregnancy announcement. My parents are obviously happy for me, and so is everybody else, with the exception of my sister, of course. I don't know what got into her, or, well, I actually know exactly what's gotten into her. She's just jealous of me now. She's been acting ridiculous. She's been accusing me of leading her on and basically just making a fool out of her by not guiding her correctly, like I said, simply because I did not think I should tell her to be careful with her money and keep some of it aside. instead of blowing it all on her wedding. Here's the thing though. She's just 3 years younger than me, so I think somebody who's around the same age should have that common sense, especially as an adult, that you really shouldn't have to blow all your money on a wedding if you can't afford it. Trust me, she definitely cannot. She runs her own business, but unfortunately, it's not been doing well. She makes bags and shoes, but the product quality is not that great. And let alone other people, even I myself don't want to buy from her because it's just not durable, and I find it all a bit overpriced. Anyway, this is what she's been doing for the past 2 years, and needless to say, it's not been going well for her. She's also been with her husband for almost 3 years. They got married 6 months back, and he's no use either. At least she works and makes her own money. He just totally relies on her. I wish I could say that he handled everything at home. He does all the chores, but no, he just sits at home, and currently he's trying to become a streamer. Before this, he would at least pretend that he was working, even though all he was doing was just getting laid off every 3 months. My parents were obviously not very happy about this match, but my sister was determined to marry him. For whatever reason, I don't know what she saw in him, but anyway, now she's stuck with him. He's a total freeloader and he doesn't even do any of the work around the house. So she has to come back home and do everything, and she can't stop complaining about it. So in general, she's quite a resentful, bitter person, and I think that's a huge part of the reason why she's so angry with me at the moment. But it's ridiculous. Because you see, this is not even the whole story, and if anything, I should be the one who is upset with her instead of the other way around. Since it was actually her who attended my wedding and decided to make fun of everything, simply because it was a small wedding and we were not having a big budget wedding. She made a lot of remarks at my wedding which were quite unwelcome. She made a lot of jokes and made everybody uncomfortable, but I didn't say a word because I just did not think that it was worth it, and also because I didn't even find out about it since I was not paying attention. It was only later that my friends and a couple of other members of my family told me about it. And by then, I had already decided that it was not worth it to bring it up with her because she was just going to get defensive and tell me it was just a joke. She's always been like that. She'll make mean comments about people, and then when people get offended, she's going to tell them that she's just joking and make it sound like the other person is the idiot for minding and whatever she's doing is totally normal. So I didn't say anything, I let it go, but I always knew for a fact that at my wedding she had a lot to say about how her wedding was going to be different. It was going to be bigger and better, and she was going to make the best use of the fun that our parents had for her. Unlike me, and for whatever reason she had assumed that maybe I hadn't even received the money that my parents had set aside for me. I don't know why she made that assumption. Our parents have never had the tendency of playing favorites or anything, so I don't know why she would think that. But because I did not bring it up with her, I never got the chance to correct her either. And she's using that against me now, claiming that I misled her, making her believe that our parents had not bothered to set anything for my wedding, even though I never made any comment about it. And she just made her own assumptions and went off on it. Anyway, that's part of the thing. And the other part is that she had a huge, luxurious wedding with this guy that she's married to now. And our parents ended up paying for all of it. So she blew her entire wedding fund naturally. She doesn't have anything left now from that fund. And even though my parents are pretty well off, they have always made it very clear to us that money is important and we should be very responsible with our finances. So they have never really encouraged us to borrow from them unless we are in dire need of it. And I think anybody who knows my sister's situation will agree she's only digging her own grave. She knows that her business is not doing well, and yet she keeps putting money into it. She never insists on her husband contributing to the household expenses or anything. So naturally, she doesn't have the guts to go and ask for money from my parents because she knows that even if they do end up providing the money, she will definitely get a stern lecture because she's created the situation for herself. She doesn't admit any of this, but I think I know her well enough to know this. Anyway, after my announcement and everything, she made a phone call. I thought she was calling to congratulate me, but instead, she started fighting with me, saying all the things I mentioned earlier, and I was just caught totally off guard, and I couldn't defend myself. I was just listening to her go on, and by the end of it, I was just frustrated, so I hung up. And even that did not end the conversation. She decided to tell me that I was being rude and disrespectful by hanging up on her, and that I need to apologize to her at least for making her believe certain things and leading her into believing that our parents didn't have any funds set aside for me, which is why I had a small wedding. Basically, she's blaming me for the fact that she's struggling with money right now, and she's making it feel like I'm the bad guy here for not guiding her and letting her know that I set aside a lot of money that I could have spent on my wedding so that I can buy a house in future. And she's claiming that if she had known that was my plan, she would have done the same thing, and now she has to worry about rent every month. For 6 months, she's been bragging everywhere about her wonderful luxury wedding, in spite of everything that's been going on in her personal life, and yet somehow all of this is my fault. I just don't get it. I don't understand why she's being so ridiculous. And in a way, I know that she's just taking out her frustration on me. But it's just really stupid of her to do that, especially in a situation like this. I haven't spoken about this with anybody apart from my husband yet, but given the rate that things are going at, I might rat her out to our parents if she doesn't stop. Because in the past couple of days, she has been bothering me nonstop and it doesn't seem to end. Ever since I made that announcement, she's been trying to call me, she's been trying to text me, and even though I've blocked her original number, she's been using other phone numbers, probably once belonging to her friends or whatever. Anyway, whatever the case is, she's been telling me that she's really disappointed in me. She's been accusing me of not being a good sister, saying I'm jealous of her. And that's why I kept my mouth shut when she was making bad decisions, instead of trying to guide her. It's getting ridiculous. And I don't really believe in complaining to parents, especially at our age, but I don't think I have anything else that I can do at this point. The only thing is, I know for a fact that my parents will definitely give her an ultimatum of some sort, and that's probably going to get her into more trouble, because at this point, our parents are probably her only hope of getting a way out of her financial issues without anybody else's help, or going into even deeper debt. And knowing her, instead of apologizing, she's probably going to make the situation worse for her by being narcissistic and egoistic, and she might end up ruining her relationship with her parents, and that's definitely going to push her further into trouble. And I don't want that. Not just for her, but for anybody. So that's the only thing that has been holding me back, because I know for a fact that my sister has a tendency to self-sabotage. And then I'm going to feel guilty for it, and I don't want that to happen, which is why I've been thinking about what I should do. And I thought about it a lot. I've even told her to back off a couple of times, but she just doesn't listen. And she really wants me to apologize, but that's where I draw the line. I'm not going to do that, because I'm not wrong here. I've not even done anything to her, and she's the one who actually needs to apologize to me, in spite of the fact that she's been hurting me all along. I'm still looking out for her. Isn't that enough? Anyway, WIBTA if I complain to my parents about my sister's ridiculous behavior? Update 1. Hey, so I spoke to my parents and told them everything that has been going on. That was yesterday, and after hearing me out, they told me that they were going to speak to my sister and get her to stop somehow. And look, I know that a lot of people in the comments thought that it was quite juvenile of me to go complaining to my parents as soon as something went wrong, but I can't help it. Both my sister and I have grown up quite close with our parents. They definitely are a huge part of our lives, and even now, even though we're not kids or teenagers, we have a relationship with them where we know for a fact that they always want the best for us. And that's why we do our best to listen to them and take their advice seriously. So I know that if there is anybody who can make my sister stop bothering me, it's my parents. And even she knows that. And I guess she hasn't been counting on me going to our parents, because a couple of hours ago, I received a message from her saying that she was just not going to text me again because clearly I'm just a coward and I can't deal with being confronted by my own fault. Which is why I felt the need to go running to our parents and complain about her. I mean, I don't know what she was expecting. It was pretty stupid of her to keep demanding an apology out of me in the first place, knowing fully well that I hadn't even done anything wrong. I had made it very clear that I did not wish to interact with her and take this further, but she kept pushing it with me, so naturally I had to do something, and now she can't blame me for this. I just hope that she stays true to her work this time and that she doesn't actually text me again, because I don't want this to get dragged out unnecessarily now. I don't know how things went with our parents yet, though. I haven't had the chance to speak to them yet. I've been busy with work, but I'm going to call them in a few minutes, and after that, I'm going to post whatever I know, because I know a lot of you people are probably invested in this. To be very honest, this seems like a good outlet for my feelings, so why not? Anyway, see you guys in a while. Thank you so much to everybody who commented on my previous post, who had words of advice for me, and to anybody who took time to comment at all. It really means a lot to me. Update 2. So I spoke to my parents a couple of hours ago, and this is what they had to say. Of course, I started off by asking what conversation they had with my sister after I spoke to them. And they told me that when they called her and they confronted her with all the information that I had told them about, she started to deny it. Obviously, they were not having it, so my parents got a bit stern with her. And then she finally admitted that she had actually been doing all of the things that she had been accused of. But then she snapped at them and told them that it was none of their business and that this was between me and her. So they did not need to get involved, because at the end of the day, we were both dressed and we could handle it on our own without any intervention from our parents. So then, naturally, my parents had to tell them that I was the one who had asked them to intervene, and also they were adults too. If they felt like they were going to have to intervene, they were going to do that, because no matter how much we grew up, we are still going to be their children. And if we're going off track as parents, it's a duty to bring us back on track. And it was very clear that she was going seriously off track now, because this is not how normal people behave. They told her straight up that she was being ridiculous and that she was being extremely entitled and disrespectful, and that her own shortcomings are not anybody else's responsibility. So she can't go around blaming people for it and making other people miserable just because they are successful and she's not. She was shocked. She didn't expect them to be so brutally honest. And she told them that they were being horrible to her, and apparently she was literally on the verge of tears. But they had to dole out some tough love. So they told her that it was about time that she accepted that her life was not panning out the way she had expected, and it was totally fine. But what was not fine was blaming other people for her own situation, because she had created it herself. In fact, not only had she created it, she was actively avoiding doing anything to make it better, and that was only going to make the problem worse. They told her that running away from things and refusing to confront the reality was not going to improve the situation. It was only going to hurt her. And right now she was hurting. So she was doing her best to hurt me as well, and that's what it really was. They were very direct and honest with her, and they told her that she was being extremely careless with her life, and it was about time she took stock of what she was getting into and did something about it instead of being bitter and resentful, making her problems everybody else's problem by behaving like this for no reason. Now, naturally, this was too bitter of a pill to swallow, and she did not take it well. She started yelling at her parents, telling them they were being extremely unfair to her, and that she knew exactly what their problem was, and they were only upset that she had married somebody she actually liked instead of marrying somebody rich like they wanted. And let me just tell you guys, that argument does not even make sense because my husband is not rich. He doesn't come from a family like ours. His parents are pretty normal in terms of their financial situation, and I love them, and I get along very well with them. And my parents had no problem with him or his family either. You know why? Because he was not a deadbeat like my brother-in-law. He's a hard-working man. He's an honest person with integrity, and he would never let me or anybody else down the way my brother-in-law has. So naturally, my parents felt a lot more comfortable welcoming him into the family rather than my brother-in-law. And my parents were quick to point that out, but my sister was not having it. She just kept yelling at them and kept making it seem like they were targeting her simply because she was married to somebody that she loved. And they just could never accept that. And they wanted a reason to blame everything on him and then come out of nowhere. She started telling them that she knew she should never have taken the wedding fund from them. She never should have accepted that money because she should have known that they were going to hold that over her head the whole time and expect her to act like an obedient little puppy just because of that wedding fund. That literally came out of nowhere because my parents had never even spoken about it. They are not the kind of people that she was making them out to be, that they would use that against her. They paid for our education as well. So if they had never held that against us, then why would they hold this? It was just her own insecurities talking, and it shows. But anyway, that conversation didn't go well at all. And in the end, my parents ended up telling her they had said whatever they felt they needed to say to her, and it was up to her whether she wanted to change her life or not. And if she didn't, it was her loss, not theirs, because they had already done everything in their power to give her a good life. Now, how she planned on creating a good life for herself was on her. They hung up, and that was that. I must say, she's making a lot of stupid choices, one after the other. And I'm sure she's going to regret this, but since she seems to have made up her mind, I don't think I'm going to say anything to her. Whatever she does now, it's on her. Update 3. Hey, so it's been 3 weeks since my previous update, and a couple of days ago I had a small party at my house. We invited a few friends and family members over to celebrate the fact that we were finally homeowners. But more than that, it was really a celebration of the fact that my husband had been promoted and we were on our way to becoming parents. Honestly, we were celebrating our life in general because things were way too good right now and we just wanted to commemorate it. And whenever sending people the invites for it, I thought about whether I should invite my sister or not because I was quite conflicted. The thing is, in spite of whatever has been going on with her in the past couple of years, we actually used to be very close before. And I don't really remember any event or milestone that I've had without her. Sure, she has changed quite a lot in the past couple of years and we have drifted apart. And honestly, sometimes I feel like she hates me and sometimes even I hate her. But at the end of the day, she is still my sister and I don't want to lose her. When we were younger and even up until a couple of years back, she was always the happiest for me whenever I achieved something. And it was the same with me for her. She and I spoke for hours on the phone and we texted in every day. And I don't know where that went, but I knew for a fact that if there was even the smallest chance that I could get it back, I wanted to take it. So I decided to take a chance on her and I sent her the invitation. I didn't say anything. I just sent her the invitation, shared the details with her, and left it up to her whether she wanted to attend or not. And on the day of the party, I was quite restless because even if she did attend, I was scared she might pick a fight with me or ruin the party somehow. And I was scared that she might even misunderstand the intention of the invitation and think that I was trying to rub it in her face or something. And all these scenarios were going through my mind, but what really happened was better than anything I expected. She showed up half an hour before the party was supposed to begin. She also asked to speak to me in person, and it was a bit awkward, but as my husband was setting up everything outside, she took me aside and she just broke down in front of me. She told me that she was very sorry for everything that she had done, and basically, long story short, I don't want to get into the details of it because it's her story. I don't want to get personal, but basically her business was tanking, and her husband, as you might have all guessed by now, wasn't that great. She's been struggling to keep up with everything, and that had been taking a toll on her mental health. And she told me that she was not using it as an excuse, but she had just been going through a lot, and she was jealous of everybody around her, and that's why she had been acting out. But she really wanted to make it better. She told me that the invitation was something that meant a lot to her, and now she wanted to let me know that she wanted to be there for me, truly. And she wanted to do the right thing, so she had decided she would make some real changes to her life instead of just sitting around being angry at everything. I was really happy for her. And she, our parents and I, have been speaking regularly for the past couple of days. And we have decided that we're going to help her get therapy. We're going to bail her out of the tanking business situation. And she herself is going to do something about her deadbeat husband. So things are looking up now, and I'm really glad she has decided to take a stand for herself and not let herself drown in all her problems. I'm glad that I sent her the invitation and that we were able to sort things out. I think that's just what the doctor ordered here. Stay tuned for more stories from our girl relationships.